Welcome to CRCSD Homeroom, the podcast that brings you the stories and insights from around the Cedar Rapids Community School District. I'm your host, Joe Larson, and today we have two very special guests with us from City View High School, teacher Trevor Templeman and student Allison Klostermann. They're going to give us some insight about City View High School, their experiences there, and Allison will tell us exactly why she chose to go to City View instead of some of the more traditional routes. So get ready and let's get to class. Guys, thank you very much for joining me from City View this morning. How's your morning so far?
It's great. It's beautiful outside.
Yeah.
Good. Absolutely. Well, yeah, thank you again for joining us. We'll dive in a little bit here on, just kind of the overall story of that is City View. A lot of people, Cedar Rapids Public, stuff like that, don't even really understand what City View is and kind of how it incorporates itself into the high schools and buildings that Cedar Rapids has to offer. So with that, Trevor, can you give me a little bit of your background and how you became a teacher at City View?
Yeah. Good morning. I was a social studies teacher first at Metro High School. Then I was instructional coach for a couple of years. And when City View was opening, it sounded like a small school environment that's similar, but that was mostly project-based. So we could spend a lot of time with students, engaging in the community more broadly, getting students as often as possible to leave the school building to learn from professionals, from people who are doing the work that they're curious about, which I feel like is one of the best modes of education, right? Like spending time, having some experiential learning really brought me on board, and that's what we've been trying to do consistently for the last couple of years.
Fantastic. And then for those that don't know, where is City View located exactly?
City View is located downtown Cedar Rapids in the Economic Alliance building. We share space with the Economic Alliance, who is upstairs, and we are on the ground floor.
And I'm sure that has to be kind of a cool dynamic for both of you guys as teachers as well as the students to kind of see like a business in action on day to day. Is that, just different kind of experiences that you've had while being there? Yeah,
it's been an interesting transition from a non-traditional school environment to a non-traditional school environment, one with classrooms and one without, right? Our walls are pretty open, which was the model as it was defined. It is interesting being in a space like that because it's challenging, right? Schools exist, classrooms exist for a reason, but this has really pushed us to make some choices that get kids out of the classroom. So we've made an effort, given the space, which is sort of intentional, to make sure that we're learning everywhere all the time. Yeah. And it has been great working with the Economic Alliance. I think as we deepen that partnership, they have met with students. There are some students doing a really interesting art project right now with Jennifer Bassett at the EA, and they're going to hang it around the city. So there are so many small things that can happen in, I think, big ways because we have a connection with people who work in that space.
And when did City View open officially?
This is our second year.
Second year that you've been open. Okay. So yes, for those of you that maybe don't realize that it's been a thing, it's pretty new. So that's totally okay. You mentioned some, as far as like, if you want to call it all in the job training or real life experiences that these students are receiving. Allison, I'll ask you about some of those. What's the biggest reason why you kind of chose to go to City View, and what have some of those experiences been so far?
So my schooling career has not been traditional. I was homeschooled for 2 years in middle school for 6th and 7th grade. So I was comfortable learning on my own and directing my own learning. So when I heard about City View, I was interested by the idea of being able to learn at my own pace and choose what I wanted to learn, how I wanted to learn it, and how fast I wanted to learn it.
Absolutely. Totally makes sense. And City View offers those opportunities totally, in the ways in which it's been best for you?
Yes. Last year I did LA9 and LA10 both in the same year. And this year I'm doing 2 years of LA and have been able to get a lot of my social studies credit done through different projects like National History Day. So that's been really helpful.
Fantastic. I know a couple of weeks ago, you guys kind of as a group of students and teachers went to the state capitol. Can you tell me about that experience, why you guys went, what you learned while you were there, and just kind of that whole day in general?
Yeah, our student council went. Allison is a part of that, but I don't think that they were able to go
No,
to
I
the
was
state
busy.
capitol that day.
Gotcha.
So we took our City View student council to the state capitol. We met with a couple of legislators, including Molly Donahue. We had a great tour of the capitol, and our questions from students were really sort of curated over time we spent at school to get them ready to speak to legislators, to have conversations, to identify issues that they care about. We looked at specific pieces of legislation that were moving through the House and Senate, and they asked some tough questions of senators and representatives. And that is the goal, right? Some preparation in the classroom space and time that we have at school, and then going out in the community and actively engaging in that process. I mean, it was also fun, right? The Capitol's beautiful. We got a tour of the Rotunda, which was
Yep.
fantastic. We were able to go up into the dome, and then we had lunch at the sculpture park. So like all of those pieces together. But that is some of the required standards for government credit, that we were able to actively engage with people doing the work and then come back to school and reflect on what that looks like, so we can make sure students are seeing the process from sort of the lens up close, but then step back and see where their learning is actually applicable to their lives more fully.
Absolutely. And it sounds like, of course, field trips, some hands-on things. What are some other things that really set City View apart from kind of your traditional high school learning? Or where did you go to middle school?
Harding Middle School.
You went to Harding. So what's something, as far as those differences between a place like Harding or traditional middle school into high school, that you've noticed so far in your time?
I would say one of the biggest ones is it's a very small student population. I think 75 kids.
Yeah.
Which is very different than Harding, where there were hundreds. So
Hundreds, yeah.
You're able to get to know each other a lot better. You're able to get to know your teachers a lot better, and you're able to have those relationships that make learning more fun, or make the ability to work on these projects so much easier.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm sure that there's, you know everybody, there's some camaraderie there, and it probably helps when it comes to like asking for help or, things like that, that there isn't kind of that stigma around, well, I don't know these people, or yeah, they might also be in my grade, but I've never talked to them before. With 75 kids, I'm sure that that's really just a hurdle that doesn't exist, which is probably pretty great.
Yeah, it is wonderful. It's a good environment to teach in because we have the opportunity to get to know students, right? We're at 75 now. As we build out the model, our goal will be about 150 students total, so 50 kids per grade level, sophomores, juniors, and seniors. So it will, by design, stay relatively small. It will get bigger. The school will get bigger as years sort of pass by, and we have the opportunity to grow the space and get kids engaged and interested in it, but it will always be significantly smaller than the other environments.
And I want to ask you, Allison, and just kind of make sure that we're getting as detailed as possible, because I'm sure current students, parents, when it came to that process of like, okay, I'm done at Harding and I want to decide where, I'm looking at this high school or that high school, what did that process kind of look like? Were you like, did you take a tour to City View before you decided to go there? Like, kind of what was that process of choosing that you wanted to go to City View?
For me, it took a while to decide because I don't like change, and choosing to go to non-traditional high school was a very big change, but I attended a lot of the informational meetings that were promoting City View, and just hearing about how I would have flexibility in my learning and be able to direct my own learning really made me decide that this would be the correct choice, the best choice for my future.
Absolutely. And would you say that that's probably the biggest thing that sets City View apart, is that like I'm able to pick what I want to do in comparison to the other kind of traditional high schools in the time that you've been there? Or what are some of the bigger things that set it apart that we maybe haven't touched based on yet?
I think it's a lot of different things that sets it apart. We are smaller, right? We have that flexibility. We have flexibility within our day to come have conversations like this. I think that's really valuable. The project-based learning, Allison's going to touch on this more as we talk through some of the things we're currently working on, but we've been doing projects together since Allison started, including a Vets Memorial Art Project, which was the beginning of last year. So one of our first projects that we actually undertook. We've done other panels, things like that, that is our student-led. There are options and ideas that we all kind of float together for projects. There are a couple in the air right now. thinking about the Iowa Bike Coalition's role. I think it's Ride, Walk, or Roll. I'm sure I've got that name wrong, but getting kids to ride their bikes to school, and that's on May 7th. So working on ways to engage the community in that aspect, based off of things that are kind of a problem in the community that we can address. That's some of the overlap we have. And that self-directed learning is really important. Now, they were talking on the way over here about signing up for Kirkwood classes. That's another one of our partners. We regularly have students engage in Kirkwood classes in high school. Allie's a sophomore. They've taken and will continue to take Kirkwood classes, so the amount of college credit earned by the time that she graduates will be substantial, which obviously lowers barriers. There's some equity that is being built into the model, so we can gain access to classes like that, potentially some partnerships with larger community organizations. So I think it's both and, right? It's kind of everything that we do is centered around students' achievement in whatever ways they want to, but also with the guidance of an advisor who has I would say, a more fulsome idea of what it can look like and what is necessary to sort of graduate as 18, 19, choosing to go to college or not, and then making connections in the community to help with that process.
Absolutely. I was not a lover of school when I was a kid. And it's really weird how at this age now, how much I wish I would have had those options when I was 14, 15, be able to choose kind of, this is what I'm interested in, or this is the way I want to learn. You said a lot, essentially yourself, whether it's been hands-on or kind of going at your own pace. There were definitely subjects when I was in high school that I was like, I would love to be able to do this all day, every day, and be a part of those things. So it's really cool to hear that that's becoming more and more of the norm. Because the end goal is just, making sure the kids are learning and they're engaged and they're taking pride in what they're doing. And I'm jealous of the fact that I wasn't able to really be a part of that myself. You touched base on it. There's some really cool projects that you guys are working on. One that I know, because I've helped a little bit, is called City Brew. Tell us a little bit about City Brew and kind of where the idea came from and what all of that looks like.
Yes, so City Brew is a community coffee shop that a couple students and you, Trevor, and Amanda have been started to creating. Amanda came up with the idea in December of having a community coffee shop that's student run and can give back to the community. And our team of students is pushing that forward. Right now have had some trouble finding a location for a coffee shop, but we have decided to move to a coffee cart where we can take it into businesses and push the idea of City View, and while also giving back to the community while we wait to find a physical location.
So just to get this straight, and I'm going to look straight in the camera when I say this is a mobile coffee cart that can come to your business. They will come to you. Fantastic idea. I think there's plenty of people out there that understand whether they're running late for work or whether they just, forget, or the line at Starbucks is 19 cars deep and they don't want to wait. The opportunity to have, just coffee brought to their office and to get something like that. Fantastic idea. And hopefully people will start reaching out to you guys to come out. And you're in the process of building the cart right now. Kind of what does that look like as far as the actual, I don't even know what goes into building a coffee cart. What is that looking like for you?
Yes. So we have some funding to get the materials. Today was, yep.
Today's the day.
Yep. We are another student and then teacher at Iowa Big are going to go out and purchase the building materials, the wood and hardware that's needed, and start building it in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, and just so everybody out there understands, today's Wednesday, today's March 27th?
5th, I think.
25th?
Or 6th. I don't know.
I don't even know.
She knows better than we do.
Let me double check. Hold on.
It's
Today's the
26th.
26th, everybody. Okay. I apologize. And we're looking at the cart probably being ready in a couple of weeks, middle of April. Is that what we're shooting for?
We had hoped for April 1st. Everything is slow all the time.
Right.
So mid-April, probably the 15th.
Very cool.
So I want to kind of peel back some of the other layers of this process because
Absolutely.
I think it is really indicative of a lot of the projects that happen. There was a piece of real estate that came open. Amanda Zorni, who works with the Economic Alliance, Iowa Big, and us, helping sort out projects and internships, said, hey, what if we had a student-run coffee shop? She brought the idea, and we talked it through, and then started to do research, trying to understand what that could possibly look like. We ran into some roadblocks, which is normal and a great part of the process, because that's how we learn. That sort of friction, right, is I think where the actual learning takes place. And then pivoted. We're speaking with some folks at Orchestra Iowa, which may be the physical location, which is great. But in the meantime, there was an idea. I'm not sure who it was. Maybe it was Amanda. Maybe it was you.
It was not me.
Okay.
I think it was Kaya, maybe.
It was maybe Kaya, one of our other students who's working on this project, who thought we should have a coffee cart that we could take places. So we'll probably end up doing both and. But in the process of coming up with a coffee cart, we had to come up with a product list, what it would take and what it would cost to actually purchase the materials and build a coffee cart, which I think Kaya and Allison both did. Lots of spreadsheets, lots of time spent working through that process, right? So thinking about the educational value, there's obviously some math there. There's also the real world skills of trying to figure this problem out.
Right.
And it was fantastic to see. And with some of the connections we've made in the community as a school, but through Amanda, Van Meter agreed to hear our pitch. They heard our pitch. You were there for that meeting, and they gave us the check to help build the coffee cart. We're going to get in front of a couple of other businesses to provide a similar tailored pitch about what this looks like for us to do something like this in the community. Cedar Rapids Bank and Trust and Big Grove are two places that we're going to in the next couple of weeks to pitch this idea, because that is sort of the goal, right? Like the coffee cart is great. The goal for me as an educator is to get the kids in positions where they can learn and have that real world experience. And I think it is absolutely invaluable.
Yep. Yeah, I'd say shout out Van Meter, shout out Big Grove, shout out Cedar Rapids Bank and Trust. Because yes, again, another opportunity that I'm jealous of, and something that I wish I would have been able to done, when I was in school. I think the only opportunity we really had when I was in school was like, hey, do you want to go work the concession stand at like a football game? And you're like, no, I want to watch the football game. Like, that's ridiculous. Why would I ever do that? So to have that opportunity and to be able to kind of go through those real world, problems and roadblocks, I can only imagine, just kind of the education that on a daily basis is, being provided to you guys, as well as just learning about accounting and product knowledge and marketing and advertising and all of the little things that go into the starting of a business. And can't wait till you guys are able to do that and we're able to get businesses lined up to, obviously start enjoying some coffee. So that's fantastic. Are there any other kind of fun projects that are on the horizon? Anything for the rest of this school year, or even looking forward to 25, 26? Any cool ideas that you guys have looked at so far?
We had this conversation in the car because I asked Allie what's next, because we've done 2 or 3 projects together. We had a City View Academy, which was kind of incoming fresh from the City View to get acclimated to what it was like, and Allie was an intern for that process. That was a little more in-house. Now they're interning at the City Brew, kind of working through that. So just curious about what they want to do next, and this is the process, right? Just asking that question, what comes next? We have things that are always happening, I think, outside of this and outside of maybe Allison and I even. Like I said, there's some folks working with the Economic Alliance to create and to display some art in the public. So that's something happening. There'll be like a loose opening, appetizers, hors d'oeuvres, things like that. That'll like exist for people to come. We'll market and publish that. We have an exhibition night coming up, which is May 28th, where everyone. May 28th?
Yeah.
Great. Where we'll invite everyone in the Cedar Rapids community to come see what we do. Because kids are doing interesting things in class, right? We still have some standards-based classes right now where students are working on projects. They'll get a chance to showcase those projects. Students have done kind of amazing and interesting things. I know just last week, or the week before spring break, Ann Jamison, our science teacher, took some kids to the public health building, I believe, to showcase projects about cancer, just talking and thinking about cancer awareness. We have a student who is working on a speaker series, so they're bringing in different speakers every month. Mayor O'Donnell came in yesterday to talk about just leadership, what that looks like, to a small group of students. We're working on a potential marketing project with and for the Cedar Rapids Community School District and for City View. More broadly, just getting students engaged and involved in that process. And we're always open. right? So that's another part. If there is a need in the community, either at City View students can help with that, or I know Iowa Big regularly is a problem-based
Yep.
group of folks, and they are always looking for things to help engage students as well. So we're kind of open for anything.
Definitely. So yeah. So what you're telling me is you're bored.
Yeah.
You don't really have anything to do.
Nothing.
So we'll find something. Don't worry. What is something we haven't talked about yet in regards to City View that we need to mention, or just kind of make sure the public knows, or parents out there looking at options for their kids, or students in general, if they're going through the same process you're going through? What's something that we need to make sure they know before we're done talking here?
What do you think? I'll start, and then you can jump in. That the project-based learning, the engagement in the community is not extraordinary at City View. Like, it may be in general, but we do it all of the time. We've had projects at the library consistently who have been a fantastic partner. We worked with Grow, Casmore Farms, to help build tables for their greenhouse. We did that for a couple weeks. We're going to work with a group of elementary students at Kenwood to look at what Grow has done with their greenhouse, and then do some garden club related work at Kenmore. So we are consistently getting in the community. It is normal. It's what we do. It's what we want to do. It's how we want to get kids engaged and involved. And whether that's through something specific curated by and with the teacher and students, or kids are getting internships. We have some students who are interning at the LSE right now,
Yep.
who are working regularly with folks. We have kids working with the city government. They're going all over the place to do all kinds of things outside of what we're doing at City View. And the sort of misnomer of hands-on, I think, indicates that we are like doing things physical labor, like a shop class would be, and that's not entirely true. It's more what you're curious about,
Right.
what you want to explore in any way and sort of any facet, and we'll help you find a curiosity and then cultivate it. Like, what are you interested in doing?
Yeah.
And we're here to support that, and then come back and reflect on it. That's where a lot of, for us, the learning takes place.
Allison, anything to add?
Not really. It's always controlled chaos.
Yes. Yeah, I can understand that as well. If I am a parent listening to this, or a student who's wanting to learn more about City View, where do I go? How do I learn more? What's the best way to go through that process?
Currently, our Facebook page is where we've pushed out most of the information for the Magnet School Lottery. I think that's probably the best spot right now
For sure.
To find the link. It is on our homepage, the Cedar Rapids Community School District sort of City View site. It will be that will be updated relatively soon. There'll be some new information. Or you can reach out to us, right? You can come into City View. My name's Trevor Templeman. It's just T. Templeman at CR Schools. You can send us an email. Somebody will answer. There are other students to talk to. I think we have PTSO, Parent Teacher Student Organization, that is pretty new. They're in their genesis, their infancy. So they will be pushing out information also soon. So that will help, right? If people are curious, they will host some open houses. Just have a conversation about what it's like to have a student at City View, because it is different. The expectations are a little bit, they're different than other schools, because there has to be a level of maturity that goes into self-directing your own learning. It's necessary.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, I appreciate it, guys. The hard part is over. That was the test. At this point, we are going to move on to my favorite segment of our podcast here at CRCSD, which is called Extra Credit. So just a couple of questions to ask these guys to learn a little bit more about them, so you don't just think that you're robots or AI who sit behind a screen, because some people think that. So first question I have for you, springtime, it's the end of March here. We figured out the date earlier, finally. We were good with that. What are some of your guys' favorite just springtime activities? Weather's getting nice outside. What are you looking forward to doing over, the next couple of weeks and months?
For me, camping, going for hikes. I like being outside, so spending time outside.
Where do you usually go hiking? Is there anywhere you love to go over any other places?
I like Wickiup Hill and Indian Creek Nature Center. There's really great trails out there.
Awesome. Fantastic. I like to hike myself. I usually end up down at the Palisades. That's where I go.
Nice.
for you, sir?
I agree. Hiking, being outside. Yeah. We have an outdoor education club at City View, just another plug for a thing that we do.
Yeah.
We have gone on some hikes as a school. We're still trying to decide what our trips are going to be, but we're either going to the Ozarks or Superior Hiking Trail in the next 6 or so months. So a lot of that is being outside. I also like the garden.
Right.
So it's been really nice to get out actually and clean up some plants and garden a little bit.
Saying I'm a golfer myself, so I see the projected temperature of about 80 here this coming Friday, and I'm like, all right, well, I know where I'm going to be. Good luck with everything else, so that'll be fun. This past week on our spring break, I went to a country concert in Des Moines, so I wanted to ask you guys, what is a concert of a musical artist, dead or alive, if you go to any concert and see them live in person, that you would want to go and see?
What do you think, Allie?
I only listen to classical, so it would be Vivaldi.
Okay. Definitely understand that.
I don't know. I've been pretty lucky, and I've been able to see a lot of artists that I really enjoy. I saw Bob Dylan when I was in high school, and he was fantastic. He was 60 then. It's incredible. The Beatles, probably. I like classic rock.
Right.
It'd be nice to see all 4 of them together. In college, I traveled to Liverpool and kind of backpacked around Europe a little bit, and went to a pub, and there was a Beatles cover band in Liverpool playing, and that was fantastic. So I think it'd be fun to see them in person for real.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
I was saying, for me, Freddie Mercury and Queen.
Nice.
I think it's just I mean, how could you not? And if I could pick the one, obviously when they did Live Aid, and that whole thing, but just to see Queen in concert for me would be high stakes. And the last question for you guys, what is your favorite restaurant or hangout area in Cedar Rapids here? I know we already talked about Big Grove. Big Grove, this isn't, I'm just saying, we're asking the question, Big Grove. Okay.
Personally, I like Pita's down in Nubo. I love the Mediterranean stuff.
Absolutely. Pita's is a game changer some days if you know what you're doing down there. So I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, I agree. Pita's is delicious. I'm going to pick a couple places close to City View because they're where we can go for lunch on the PDL days. Black Sheep's fantastic.
Yep.
Need Pizza's been a great partner, and Crafted. Great coffee. It's close.
Yep.
Good partner. So, yeah.
Good. Yeah, for me, it's Coils, which is kind of a steak hibachi grill place that has a food truck, has a brick and mortar that's up on First Ave, but just great food, fantastic people. So, yeah, we're never able to do things like that. Well, again, thank you guys. Appreciate you spending the time with us here on the podcast. And anybody who is out there who has more questions when it comes to City View and just everything that they're doing or learning more about registration, again, feel free to reach out to Trevor. Go to their Facebook site, come to our Facebook or our website, thecrschools.us, to learn more about them. And with all that said, again, thank you guys, and class dismissed.
As we continue our work together, let's remember the 5 E's of CRCSD. Everyone equipped, empowered, and engaged to excel. It's through these values that we grow and thrive as a district. Before we go, don't forget to check out some of our other exciting podcast episodes, such as The Future Ready Today, released every Friday, where we cover important topics from the district newsletter. And as always, you can follow us for more information on all of our social media platforms.
And that's a wrap for this episode of CRCSD Homeroom. Thank you very much to my guests, Trevor and Allison, and their insights on everything City View High School here with the CRCSD. Don't forget, if you want to rewatch this podcast or any of the other stuff we've done in the past, please go to our YouTube channel, Engage CR Schools, or find us on Facebook, Apple Music, Spotify, etc., to listen and watch any of the episodes we've done so far. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you for your time, and we are CRCSD.